The Democrats caused the shutdown. People figured that out this time. There was not some way they were going to make this the Republicans' fault the way that they have been able to in the past.
And I thought we could have some fun here in hour 3, and we'll continue to take your calls because you guys are calling in with some fantastic takes here on Veterans Day. And we're going to be joined by Medal of Honor recipient Dakota Meyer at the bottom of this hour, which should be pretty outstanding. But, Buck, Democrats are in such disarray that right now Don Lemon and Sunny Hostin are losing their minds over the shutdown ending. And I do think it's worth mentioning for everybody out there. Remember that they were telling us just a couple of days ago, everyone is basically going to die because SNAP is not going out to everyone. That is the meals. And oh my goodness, how in the world can we deal with with all of this not being back open? Remember, that was only a couple of days ago. So then Democrats decide, you know what, let's go ahead and we'll open back up the government. 8 Senate Democrats decide that they're willing to support that. And suddenly, all of the dire consequences from the government being shut down are gone. And instead, everybody is just furious. And by everybody, I mean even people like Don Lemon and Sunny Hostin. So let's start with Don Lemon, angry at the Democrats for bending the knee to King Donald and opening back up the government.
Look, don't let them spin you. The Democrats caved. People have been asking me, what Democrats caved? I want to know. We need to know. Okay, so these are the Democrats who voted to cave to the Republicans. 8 Democratic senators are Dick Durbin, Maggie Hassan, Angus King, Catherine Cortez Masto, Tim Kaine, Jeanne Shaheen, Jackie Rosen, and John Fetterman. They joined the 52 Republicans in this procedural vote to reopen the government without a guaranteed extension of healthcare subsidies. Just a promise to pick it up and maybe vote on it in December. Come on now.
All right, Don Lemon's unhappy. Let me hit you with where those senators are from because I don't think it's a coincidence. Jeanne Shaheen and Maggie Hassan, New Hampshire. It's Senator Tim Kaine, Virginia. Remember Senator Tim Kaine, famously Buck, Hillary Clinton's running mate. He is still in the Senate, still in Virginia. I know nobody's really talked about him since. Senate Minority Whip Dick Durbin of Illinois, number 2 Democrat. He is retiring. Fetterman of Pennsylvania, Cortez Masto, and Jackie Rosen of Nevada, a state that Trump won by 5 points. And I don't think it's a surprise that they would be nervous about what might be coming down the pike, as Nevada looks like maybe a state that is moving much more significantly into the red column going forward. Now, also, Sunny Hostin was angry, and we got a fun go back and forth argument coming up between Sunny Hostin and John Fetterman in a moment. But first, Sunny Hostin angry that Democrats have 8 of them that we just named have voted to open, along with the independent that caucuses with the Democrats, Angus King of Maine, that they have voted, 8 of them did, to open back up the government. Listen.
This was a choice by Republicans to cut SNAP benefits. This was a choice by Republicans to cut ACA subsidies. This was a choice by the Republicans to gut the federal government and federal employment. Democrats had nothing to do with it. I want an opposition party. I think the Democrats caved. I think the Democrats let down the American people. And like you, Whoopi, I have absolutely no faith that the Republican Party will come to the negotiating table in good faith.
I hope she becomes the chief strategist of the Democrat Party. I really would love to see Sunny Hostin as the person making the big calls for Democrats going forward, because I think you have to give credit where it's due. She is world class when it comes to bitterness and also a complete and utter lack of tactics and wisdom when it comes to politics. So, yeah, let's have Sunny Hostin be the one who determines what the Democrat Party is going to do. The Democrats caused the shutdown. People figured that out this time. There was not some way they were going to make this the Republicans' fault the way that they have been able to in the past. And so their big enemy here was reality. The enemy was just the obvious. And that is often the case with Democrats, but this time around, they weren't able to get around that with just endless propaganda.
No doubt. And speaking of endless propaganda, our good friend Sunny Hostin, the woman that Buck would like to be in charge of all Democrat messaging. Boy, would that be fun. John Fetterman was on The View. And Sunny Hostin and John Fetterman, a.k.a. the current sanest Democrat in the country, went at it over Fetterman's consistent votes to reopen the government. Here is what that sounded like.
Poll after poll found more Americans on both sides of the aisle blaming Republicans. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene blamed the GOP. As you mentioned, Democrats had big wins last week, so you had momentum. Why give in now? Why bring a butter knife to a gunfight? Are you willing to gamble that the GOP will negotiate on health care in good faith once the government reopens? Because if that gamble is wrong, 500,000 Pennsylvanians that you represent, their health care costs will skyrocket if you are wrong. And I believe you are wrong.
Well, first of all, MTG is quite literally the last person in America that I'm going to take advice or to get their kinds of my leadership and values. And now if Democrats are celebrating crazy pants like that, then that's on them. And I don't need a lecture. I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations. And a lot of those things were part of the extreme. And now remember, what really needs to win, the big win, is involving my state and other states and those things. And why have we arrived here after the election a year ago? We got to forget some of the things that cost us that election, or now for me. That's why I'm trying to remind people that kinds of the extremism, we can't return to those kind of things and realize we need to find a way forward.
Would you have ever believed, I've said it on the program before, but I do think it's worth reiterating. I think the thing that I was most wrong about on the program in terms of analyzing people, I thought that John Fetterman was going to be the most disastrous senator in the entire country after watching that campaign against Dr. Oz. I still wish Pennsylvania had voted for Dr. Oz. I still think that would be better if there were a Republican in that seat. Having said that, John Fetterman is wrong on some things, but he's right on a lot.
If something in your life gets more expensive, you look for ways to find savings in other areas. Cell phone service may be one of those areas. So if you haven't switched your cell phone service to Pure Talk, this is an immediate savings opportunity. I'm talking about at least $50 a month, if not more, and that's without sacrificing any quality. Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a super fast 5G network using the same towers as one of the big companies for just $25 a month. Switching to Pure Talk is a common sense thing to do. Just dial pound 250, say Clay and Buck, and their U.S. customer service team will help you switch in minutes. Plus, right now, you'll save 50% off your first month. Find savings with your first wireless bill. Dial pound 250, say our name's Clay and Buck. They'll connect you with Pure Talk's U.S.-based customer service team. They'll get you set up today in minutes, not hours. Dial pound 250, say Clay and Buck to get hooked up with Pure Talk.